like men. They killed by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms. Who are the chiefs of the kingdoms? Okay, perfect example would be your kings and queens. Let's talk about the descendants of Adawa'ama, the leaders, the chiefs, the priests, the priestesses, your kings and your queens. It says that these entities, or fallen angels, slayed by their arts the chiefs of these kingdoms. And then they took their form, okay, and ruled over humans. It says in the writings, only by magic could they be discovered. Only by sound could their faces be seen. Now, let's show you the example of what this verse is talking about. Keep in mind, this is from the book of Thoth, okay, which is supposedly a Hamitic text. So the Hamites had the exact same information as the Shemites and the Japhethites. They all had the same information about these angel men. So it says, only by sound could their faces be seen. Remember the name Pa'ul, Sah'uulah. Remember the word owl. When you hear the word owl in English, you think of a bird. And that's what the English language is designed. That's its purpose. It programs your mind. Language is a program. I'm going to talk about this in the anthology. So when you get your anthology, you're going to see this information. The language is a program. Its purpose is to program your thinking, which will influence your actions. So if you speak English, your program is an English mind. Your actions will be the actions of English people. So currently you're out of your mind, out of your Shemitic mind, because you do not speak your native Shemitic tongue. So you're basically out of your Shemitic mind. And that's not, I'm not trying to insult anyone. Those are just the facts. Now, before I cover this information about Paul, I just really have to make this point. Has anyone bothered to ask why these entities or these fallen angels, ions, as you're going to learn about them in this next video I'm going to post after this, why would they take on the form of people, right? Well, because in the book of Thoth, in the Hamitic writings, right, which sound very similar to our own because our forefathers wrote the same thing for us. They were told to write this information down to prepare this generation for what we have to deal with. You have to deal with what's going on your planet. You're going to have to deal with these creatures because they're trying to kill you, and they're succeeding. It says that these fallen angels sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy people and rule in our place. Doesn't it tell us the exact same thing in the book of Baal, the book you know as the Bible? Bai means two, by the way. So the book is also about two Baals. You've heard of the word Tubal Cain or Tubal Cain. Baal means white. And the way this word is written with tu as the prefix from the root ta, when you look at the entire word Tubal, the prefix is very interesting because it tells us that this word is dealing with someone who has been augmented by becoming an admixture or by being an admixture. One of the meanings given also is to plate together, to mix together, to augment. There's a lot of negativity in the word Tubal, and there is a lot of it in the book of Baal. All of that negativity you see in there is what was used to conquer the kings and queens of the planet, those descendants of Atawa'ama. Because these individuals who you're dealing with, in order for them to conquer and rule over you, they first must corrupt you. They must corrupt your society spiritually. And you see that happening on a huge scale today. And I just wanted to break that down to help you see how sound works. Sound is just the basis, the foundation of language in general. So when you stop focusing on the image or the symbol itself and just listen, the language actually tells you everything you need to know. But of course, like I said, you have to listen. So this takes us or brings us to Sah'uulah or Sah'uulah. In English, there is a word that is exactly the same word. And we were talking about the bird, the owl. There's a letter in our language that's actually called Aul. Now, there's a book that I referenced in one of my videos. It has to do, I think the title is Hebrew Symbols Derived from Egyptian Hieroglyphics or something like that. But that letter is actually mentioned in there. And when you look up the word Aul in the English, because yeah, it does exist. It does exist in the English. It tells you that it means a Caucasian mountain or desert settlement, a tent of Central Asia made of felt or skins fastened over a circular wooden framework. So, back in the day, back then, the way people were named, they were named in order to basically identify their lineage, their heritage. But see, nowadays, people take names of their parents. So those monsters, creatures who rule the planet, realized that, hey, we have to change that. Okay, back in the day, you were naming yourselves so that people could identify where you came from. We don't want them to be able to do that. So you can just take your parents' names, your mother, your father. And that's how it's done today. But the fact that Aul is in Paul's name, or Saul, is telling you where his other parent comes from. Because when I translated the text in the New Testament, I could see that he was mixed. It tells us in the text he was mixed. One of his parents was white. As a matter of fact, his parent came from Central Asia. If you look at an ancient map of Central Asia, Khazaria is predominant. Because remember when I told you in the video about the false prophet, about the son of perdition, the man of sin, about the Khazarians, the Turks, the Mongols, that these people were present in ancient Rome. If you don't speak our language and you keep trying to read our ancestral writings in the English tongue, you'll never see it. You will never see the presence of the Turks, the Khazars, the Mongols in ancient Rome. Because this word, which is actually a letter in our language, Aul, means a Caucasian mountain or desert settlement, a tent of Central Asia. So it identifies the people of that region. And that is who Paul was mixed with, which is why he was constantly haranguing and assaulting and attacking our people, because our pure-blooded people knew to not accept people who were mixed with white into their fold. They didn't mix. Our people did not mix. Well, those of our people who abided and lived by the covenant, they didn't. Of course, you know the rebels, they did, and they got cut off, such as the tribe of Dan, Ephraim. But I just wanted to make that little quick video and share that information with you. Start paying attention to sound more. Start listening more. Stop focusing so much on images, because the images are used to distract you. They have a lot of tools that they use to distract you and keep you focused on things that are just not important. So just be careful of their tools, their sorcery, their witchcraft that they use. These creatures that you're dealing with are highly intelligent. I think the word intelligent is an insult to them, to describe them, because their intelligence surpasses intelligence. It's very cunning. And you're not dealing with humans. They look, well, kind of. Some of them are obvious. I saw a person, I won't identify the gender, and I really shouldn't be calling a person, but their eyes were the strangest eyes I've ever seen. And I'm not talking about color-wise. I'm talking about the way they were made. And you probably assume I'm speaking about maybe a Mongol. No, they weren't slanted like that. They, okay, you know the crease of the eye, right? You have two creases. You have one that's on the inside of the nose area, and then you have one at your brow bone. And usually in normal people, it comes all the way down. You have a nice crease, you know, you have like beautiful almond shaped eyes. This person's eyes, the lids, the bottom and top, instead of there being a crease where it folds right in at the brow line, it just kept right on around. So if, when the person kept trying to open their eye, it actually looked as if it was going to tear and split because there's no crease there. And I was trying not to stare, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but notice, you know, I'm saying to myself, what is going on with this person's eyes? And so I've been, you know, studying this information on these angels, these fallen angels, how they disguise themselves to try and blend in into human society. They've been doing it for thousands of years. They even successfully, for a while, erased themselves from the mouths of people in general. You know, back in the day, people knew them when they saw them. Our foreparents described them as white men. And then others described them as other things as well. Especially if they got caught without their skin on. I call it a skin because if you have to make yourself look like a human, you obviously are not. Then you're wearing a skin. You're wearing a costume facade. And that's just the information I wanted to share about Paul. Why he hated our people, because he was vicious. And the fact that he was mixed with Khazar Mongol Turk explains it all. His name, his ascendancy is in his name. That's why they wrote it that way. Paul, Sah'uulah. Those people from the Caucasus Mountains, Central Asia. Look at an ancient map and you'll see Khazaria was in Central Asia. He was mixed with that. So those people, those were the ones, the Khazars. That's why I made the video. Khazar Turk, they were the ones who were sitting up there in the Sanhedrin and all those places. They had completely taken over. You're dealing with them now. They own your media. They own your banking system. They own it all. And they use their media to control you and try to convince you to mix yourselves out of existence. Don't fall for it. Well, anyways, the next video is coming up. Talk with y'all soon.